is Carly and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Like so many people, I have a bit of a mixed relation with the color blue when it comes to inks. So what I wanted to do was to swatch all the inks that I can comfortably put into the blue category, and just, have a little look at them, because even though I say I don't really like blue, I seem to have 10 blue inks. So, or yeah, at the widest range of blue, to be honest. But yes, I wanted to have a look at them all. I'm trying to get them all onto one page. I'm going to use a very old sort of speedball nib. No idea where I got it from. I don't know where the halter comes from. I just had it in my stash, and I'm also using my glass dip pen. I got this off Etsy. It might be a J. Aubin pen. I'm not quite sure. And I'm swatching in my Leuchtturm ink journal. Because I write my novels on Leuchtturm paper, so it always had made sense to me to swatch on Leuchtturm paper as well. Though, as you can see, this ink journal comes to an end, and I'm open to branching out. I've looked at quite a few alternatives, and because I haven't experienced the Tomorrow River paper before, so I'm very tempted to try and give this at least a go and see how I like it. Because actually, paperweight-wise, the Leuchtturm paper is quite close to the Tomorrow River paper. And cost-wise, it's not so much of a difference. So yeah, that's my thinking process. And off camera, I have some water and rag. And because, I'm going to try and keep the swatches relatively dry. Otherwise, you might have seen me do big puddles. And I still love those. I just, try to save on a bit of space, to be honest. And the first one is the ink in my collection that is closest to the usual school blue. And it's Diamine's China Blue. And it's a bit of a struggle for me to write with the paper in an upright position. So I can't make any promises for legibility. I just know that it's not great to handle the nib. I need to slow down, but I don't think I have enough ink in the reservoir. Just do it again. And I think I might, I think I might try and do them all sort of here and then the names on the other side. I think that would be hopefully give a nice pattern. I'm very partial to sort of completed swatching pages. Always looks so amazing to me. Oh. Let's see. Diamine China. I managed to get so much ink on the ball of the glass tip pen. I was a bit worried that I already have ink on me, so it's not a big deal, but don't need to tempt destiny. Okay. So the next one, so I see this is the blue. It's already leaning towards periwinkle. And this is still the blue I always say I wanted to get away from. So on my journey to find a blue that I like, I went to Robert Oster Wind, which definitely has like some chroma shading properties going into purple. If I can make this work. And my plan is to do first sort of the more truer blues and then go into sort of greener blues. And this is, yeah, but Oster Wind. Then I actually bought from the Diamine Black Ink Vent Baltic Breeze, which is really similar to Wind, but it has a copper shimmer. And I've done like an ink exploration with those two, and they are different, but not that much. So yeah, that's when I realized, oh my god, I definitely have a type. Which, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just very funny to me. And I always put my stuff somewhere it's difficult to get at. I think that's already looking quite similar going down on the paper. Okay, I'm trying to put the tip nib down to my other side so I don't get into a panic again. So, and I got too much ink on here. Ink vent. Baltic Breeze. And I wonder which ink came first. I haven't actually looked into this, but I mean, the copper shimmer makes Baltic Breeze look a tiny bit different, but I think the base is eerily similar. And then going further into the light blue, this is Kitty Inkpot Moon Jellyfish Travel Journal, which I must admit bought mainly because of the name, because I loved it so much. But also because I saw Karina Loves to Plan Swatch it, and I think I thought, ooh, that's the kind of blue I can do. And then it had a wonderful name too, so. But yeah, you can see it's a much, much lighter ink. This is Kitty Inkpot. Okay, let's see if I can fit it. Jellyfish. Travel journal. And I used this in a stub nib before, and I quite liked it. It was still quite light. So I might use this more for art purposes. I only have 2 Kitty Inkpot inks because I think in general, they are a bit too light for me. Not because I don't like them, just because I don't think I get a lot of use out of them. And then Parker Quink Blue Black, it's probably going to be a bit of a shock after this, but it's sort of my origins. When I go back into inks and fountain pens, after having used them basically all my life because of school and stuff, this was the ink I went back to first. It actually doesn't look too jarring now. I think it's quite a nice classic blue back. Of course, I'm closing the bottle. I have a Parker Giotto, which for a long time used to be the only fountain pen that I used. Parker Quink. And I used the blue black cartridges in there, and then thought, my God, these are so expensive. And then I got a converter and the ink, and then whatever followed from there, because then I thought, now actually I can do a lot more. Actually, I've crammed those inks in quite a bit. Let me just get the second lot. And now we're going more into the blue-green bit. Just push you up a little bit. And the first one is Diamine Salad and Cat, because I think it's still blue. Oh, let's dry my nib properly. So it definitely belongs in this lineup. But yeah, it's definitely sort of a transitional, I mean, maybe not traditional, but very greeny blue. It's funny, I didn't really think about that, but they're looking a bit like waves now. I like that. Very on brand for blue ink exploration. Diamine Celadon Cat. And one of the reasons why I like swatching sort of the color families is I find it really difficult to keep an overview of what I have. And yeah, where there is potential for improvement for the collection. So now the ink with a complicated name, Dominant Industry, Les Fallets à Être Tard. And it's a wonderful sort of light blue turquoise with a silver but also rosy shimmer. It's really interesting. I got this recently. It hasn't been in a pen, but I'm planning to have it in a pen for June. Come on. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I think it's also, if I ever want to do like a bit of more monochrome month, I have these sheets to, okay, a bit bigger, look back to and see if that's a good idea or not. Okay, I'm splashing around off camera. Let's see. I get the, if I can't pronounce the name, I should at least write it correctly. Dominant industry. It's the Painter series. Yeah, it's definitely going towards teal. Okay. And the next blue is Orang Klingner's Blue-Eyed Mary, which never comes off as tealy on the camera as on the page, which is why it's in the last, like the later lineup. But I think this ink might be credited with sort of my newly awoken interest in making blue work for me. Because with this one, I was a bit skeptical from the swatches that I saw online. And then in real life, it's so much closer to what I love. It's quite amazing. Okay, so this is one and Klingner. Blue-Eyed Mary. And it comes in like a cute little, looks a bit like a toilet roll, but I love it. And then the next one is Diamine Aurora Borealis. Okay, a bit out of sync here. But yeah, make it work. I squeezed them all on the top of the page because I was worried there wasn't enough space. But hey ho, at least I got a nice pattern out of it. And the last one is Lamy Petrol. Make sure Already when you look into the bottle, it has sort of a very lubricated feel to it. Maybe I should do like a little down here with the different blues, but I think that's probably going to be oh, that's going to end up a mess. Actually, I quite like that they're all so close together. So there you have it. It's probably going to take a bit to dry, but I think it's just the Lamy petrol that needs to do that. Okay. Look at. So yeah, as you can see, Diamine China Blue is very close to a classic school blue. And then we go into the way more sort of blurply territory. Robert Oscar Wind is still so lovely. There's a Pannonia ink and that it's more purple and I'm very tempted. But I can definitely say I have a type. Diamine Baltic Breeze, it's the copper shimmer that gives this a different dimension. Otherwise, it would be very, very similar to Wind. And then the Moon Jellyfish Travel Journal, you can see that it has like a lovely taupe undertone that comes out in the chrome when it dries and the chromo shading. It's not that. It's sometimes in a stub nib you can see so if it has like a more of a muted thing, but definitely it's still a very light ink. But I love the darker parts where it's going into beige taupe, then very standard blue black on the Parker. But I still like it, I must say. It's because it's not very dark actually. It is still a really good blue, but not as so screaming blue as this one. Then Celadon Cat, like one of my favorite inks, lots of people's favorite ink, I guess. And yeah, I also had this in a stub nib and amazing. Then Le Falais Atretin. I don't think I can show the shimmer properly, but that's sort of very seasidey, oceany blue. Blue-Eyed Mary. I actually don't. I thought it might be misplaced, but I don't really know where else it could have been. Then Aurora Borealis as sort of the darker version of Le Falais à Etretat, and Lamy Petrol is now quite dry, and I want to put this in a pen too. I'm thinking about which pen it could possibly go into because it needs to be quite a dry writer, because just the way it comes off the glass nib is, I'm afraid it will leak everywhere otherwise. It's not feathering or anything. You see the back of the page. Yeah, but there's a bit of bleed through. I mean, this is quite, as I said, it's quite normal with swatching that there is a bit of bleed through, which is why I have bits and pieces everywhere. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you have like a bit of a weird relationship with blue? Are you finding yourself like considering doing something about it. I quite like my blue collection. I'm not sure whether I need something else, but if you have a good blue that, sorry, I knocked the camera, where you think it might fit in really well, or it's just so spectacularly different that it could have a place in this, let me know. I would be really interested to hear about it. I'm always putting inks on my various lists, and to keep an eye on them. I'm still sort of working on like building up my purple collection, and also a bit like I don't really have any yellows, so yellows, like readable yellows, that's sort of another thing in the works. But yeah, you know what to do. Like, subscribe would be amazing, and then I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.